The Ring of Dame Thardwine, Book 11. The ring moves on in cold light of dawn. Grief. All living things do feel the pain of loss, for all life is made with the power to feel when part of creation moves beyond this mortal world. Life is as a great tree, and when one branch dies, the whole does notice. And when removed by violence, the whole suffers, even that limb which does the cutting. There is no living thing which does not mourn death. The birds do lament, and the beasts hang low their heads when they come near it. Man gives many hours of his life to mourning that which he loved and lost. Proper is it to grieve, for that which was made shall never again be seen in the waking world, removed beyond the gates of heaven, that only the righteous may see again. But there all is maintained in perfect love, for that which lies in creation is made by love alone, the lingering love that lasts from the very first moment of our world. And to lose that love is to see the world removed farther from the moment, and to lose that part forever. The world is left less brilliant by all death. The stars lost their luster, and the moon hid her face behind the clouds as Ilulean, high Telach, lay weeping upon Ethelwald's breast, his life-blood staining her golden hair. The good monk Gregory stood above them, fervently praying that the good God accept into his kingdom a righteous man. A sudden, Ilulean threw herself off her beloved, and kneeling beside him, she conjured what magic she had remaining to seal his wounds. Her hands rested on his breast, and she called the self-same powers which healed the people of Tel Drim. But though the wounds heal, that which was once present had passed beyond the world. Her final hope dashed, no power possessed by man or Baith could return that which the good God had taken for his own. The weeping of Ilulean was horrible to hear. With each sob the good heart of the monk Gregory broke anew, and though he had lost 9 good brothers to the cruelty of the hunter, he mourned more for her loss than his own. The grasses could not bear it, and grew long reeds to catch her tears as a bed of flowers, same as that which she had long rested on upon Malach's howe, and rose up underneath Ethelwald that he would not lie in the mud, each bud giving away its strongest scent, that the decay of death would not mark the brave captain. The waters could not bear it, and came as but the tenderest showers, falling upon Ethelwald alone, washing away the mud and blood of battle, and leaving him fresh as when Ilulean herself bathed him. But then the water left him, his skin dry to the touch. The winds could not bear it, and carried word far over Ilulean that Ethelwald, Hawk's son, had perished, and with him also the hunter. And though all life was gladdened to hear that the wound was closed, it wept for the loss of Ethelwald. Across Ilulean the birds held still their song, and the beasts mourned with her, and did not prey upon each other, that further blood was not shed that night, even among men who could not hear the wind speak. The earth could not bear it, and cleared away the battlefield, that it was not pit-marked or churned from the hail, wind, rain, or the dancing feet of the hunter's final battle. The stones which had once made the mountain top vanished into the ground, that the altar where Ilulean and Ethelwald had wed became the highest peak of Scarmeline. Ilulean was little comforted by this, and continued to weep until the moon had fallen far from her high seat. Long had her tears left her, but she clung still to the body of her husband and moaned pitifully. In that hour the Baith came suddenly to the sea mountain, forming from the living stone about them. The good monk Gregory, who knew little of the strange creatures, gave a startled cry at their coming and stumbled backwards. This cry brought Ilulean from her mourning, and she rose from her husband's side, thinking that the hunter or some other threat was coming against them, and she prepared to give what battle she could in her state. When she saw it was the Baith that had that day vowed themselves to her great mother at her head, her fury grew till the land once again shook from her might. As she spoke to them, thunder rolled in the distance, and the storm gathered again. Here now before me stand the mighty Baith, made of ancient magic, masters of the wind and waves, stone and water. Late is this hour of your arrival, after the storm broke and men also. When you vowed to me your aid in all things, I did think that battle was included in your oaths. Yet war came and you did not. Baith magic present on the field only because I was. How do you acquit yourselves, masters of ancient magic, when the wound which has long made you writhe in your halls beneath the mounds came here, festering and mad, hurling filth upon the land that sustains you, seeking to break me and my husband and leave Ilulean open in its entirety to plunderous rapine? My magic could barely contain the beast, and I defeated it only by drawing all the water from the well. Long shall it be before I can wield such magic again, but you can each wield power, though less of it than I. With 15 Baith magicians to aid me, the foe could not have done such harm, and my husband would still number among the living. You have betrayed me, ancient Baith masters. You vowed that your joy was to be found in mine, yet mine lies here dead. Well it is said that the Baith are fickle and aloof, caring only for their strange plans for Ilulean. Tell me this, great mother, did you love truly your husband Math, or did you wed him only that your blood may walk among mortal men? The strange Baith who led them wept, and as she wept those next to her wept, and after them those who were next, until in short order all the Baith wept as they approached Ilulean, Gregory, and Ethelwald. She who led them stopped before the high Telach. Tears streaming down her face, she spoke. Child, the good God has guarded the great rise well, leaving little for languishing Baith from lands. For our acquittal, accompany us across the waves to our home, on whose hallowed soil you will hear our reason. No more would they speak in the hall of the good God, and the other Baith vanished into the stone, but Ilulean's great mother remained unmoving. No matter how Ilulean raged against her, she was aloof until finally, as the moon prepared for her sleep, Ilulean surrendered to the Baith witch and prepared to sail across the bay and back to Ilulean. The body of Ethelwald was carried by rolling meadows, which rose and died down the steps, and the pool and pier where the boat which carried the couple to Scarmalinae waited. Gregory took the body of Ethelwald and laid it gently in the bow before preparing the boat to sail. Then Ilulean Finnuan and the Baith witch boarded, and Gregory untied them from the pier. They crossed the bay, but as they did so they crossed paths unknowingly with Sherdei Ilulean, who in the lifting darkness rowed hard for Scarmalinae to offer what aid they could to Ethelwald. As they sailed the rough waters, they saw the wind turn into a cyclone and lights fly from the peak, and were afraid. Yet they overcame their fear with ferocity, doubling their efforts to cross the rough seas. At dawn they reached the isle, the pier empty, and standing upon the shore they were first to see the twisted black wood and blood leaves of the Felleran Coldara in sunlight. Their hearts quailed as they prepared their arms for battle. Up the stone flight they climbed, falling over the dead grass which lay thick upon them. But they went carefully, and reached the meadow where the monks made their home. There they found the dead monks, and signs of a great struggle, loose stone and dead grass. The monks they buried in Aeolish custom in the shadow of the church. Then they searched for a sign of Ethelwald or the foe which had caused such destruction, but beneath the boughs of the Fellerin Coldara they would not go, except for one. When all the isle was searched and naught was found, Sherde summoned her courage, clung tightly to her arms, and went into its shade. She searched the grass but found nothing. Closer and closer she came to the trunk of the tree as her fear grew greater, but her courage held until she stood where the twisting root dove into the earth. There she found glittering gold in the grass, held tight by the root. With sword she cut it loose, and held the ring which she knew to be Ethelwald's, as a thick black sap ran from the root and scoured the earth. She returned from the shade of Fellerin Coldara, showing the ring to her companions before setting it upon her finger. Sherde wept, and her warriors did wail for the loss of Ethelwald, and they cursed the dark tree 7 times, knowing it to be the cause of the warrior's death. Thus the root of the tree which Sherde split to reach the ring would not heal, forever flowing into the earth and sapping Fellerin Coldara of its strength. The party then left Scarmeline to return to their home and rebuild their tella. Ilulean sat stern, beneath lifting night, neither knowing nor caring that she had crossed paths in the sea with friends. She held her head between her hands and shut her eyes tightly, unwilling to face the day. But the Baith stood at Ethelwald's feet and watched the waves rise, her form steady despite the rocking, upright as a pine. Never did they want for wind as they crossed the bay. The wind filled the sail always, but never such that it was strained. As the hoofs of dawn stood upon the horizon, they came to a promontory where land ends, known as the place of falling rock, Crenboch Dudail. It is the place where Eoland ends, and stark cliffs of grey stone there do stand, 20 rella tall and sheer. Often do large rocks fall from there and into the sea below. When they came close, stones suddenly jutted from the cliff and formed a flight of stairs, and up them they climbed, Ethelwald carried by Gregory. When the feet of the Baith stood once more on proper Aeolish soil, a bramble of vines erupted from the earth and tangled themselves about her, thorns pointing inward that they pricked her skin. Ilulean's wrath did bind the Baith witch in place, as she raised a mound for Ethelwald. A bed of stone rose from the earth, perfectly made to his height, and of clean white stone. Upon this he was laid. Dawn was charging into the sky, and Ilulean came against her great mother, demanding answer for the faithlessness of the Baith. And this the Baith witch spoke. Child, powers of this province pale before the providence which suspended the stars and sun. Stay your wrath. When we went to the claw, it was without the magic and might we were made from. Mayhem to be controlled and conquered, our role in creation. Yet we are the wilds, wanderers who walk the wind. We did not choose to be chained against chaos, but were bound by the benefactor beyond. Limp our magic made, what little lives we lead. Stayed, silenced, we stood by and saw the sickness coming on billowing black wings, and we became bound, for he has plans, hopes, for this his home. Eoland is not yet his, Ilulean, but inherited soon. Scarmeline is his mastery. In this monk's mind is the key to his coming. Capture him if you can, for the good God's plan is great for the green land, and those who live there. There is little time left. Go beneath the barrows into Baith lands, become what we have been long working toward. Ilulean let the thorns fall away, and the Baith walk free. Then she and her great mother raised over Ethelwald a mound entire. A doorway of stone faced the sunrise. It was a modest grave, in size no larger than that raised for other men, but perfect in all ways. Green grass covered the barrow entire, though it was raised just then. Ilulean then fell to the earth and wept for all she had lost, and Gregory sat beside her, wearied from a day of loss. Gregory spoke thus: Ilulean Finnewen, you are High Telach of the Eolish by right of blood and acclamation. But she is a strange spirit from beyond time, and she does not number among men. She does not understand the earth the same as mortals do. She does not eat or sleep. There is a reason why you came from the forest of golden light, and that was love. This the reason why you traveled over Ilulean, taming its wild rulers, why you sought to bring peace to long-suffering people. You have lost much in this world, and it is proper for you to weep. I do weep for all which has passed this night. I have lost friends, watched good men die, but I never give myself to despair. Tears are not evil. I know not what the Baith speaks of, for I cannot bring what already rules this land. He is already here, settling the isles and pouring the seas. He has lived here as long as men have. I tell you this that you remember that the Eolish long told tales that Baith are powerful but capricious and self-serving. You yourself have told me many of these. Do not forget their strange powers. Remember those long days of torture at her hand in sunless lands. Remember that Ethelwald discovered you there, and for his sake you left. I would not trust such a creature, wild spirits who seek to rule all but would be unbound. That belongs only to the good God. The Baith witch gave Gregory a look of contempt. Unused were the Baith to men unafraid of their power. Ilulean too was unused to those who challenge the magic of those who dwell in the world beneath the mounds. Her head rose, her eyes looked deep into Gregory, searching him to discover his true feeling. Never before or again was Gregory, whose faith in the good God was as iron, so truly afraid. Long it seemed that she gazed at his soul, laid bare before her, until finally she stood and asked the question. And as she asked it, a rage grew inside her, a rage of one who had lost so much, the rage of an orphan longing for her father and mother, the rage of a widow longing to hold again her love. Rage against Gregory, rage against the Baith, rage against the good God. And as she asked it, the wind stayed still and the waters were calm. The grasses listened and the earth held all things fast. In that hour she did not call forward the magic which was hers to command. It did not fly sparking from her, nor did clouds roll over the sky, nor cyclone howl. She was but an exhausted weeping woman, alone in all Ilulean. She asked her question thus: Tell me again, Gregory the exile, why the God is good. Why should I have faith in him when all his works are pain? How can I hold his word before me when he does not and has forgotten us, leaving the world to decay by his poor stewardship? Why would such a God need to stand upon creation, to live and breathe and die, to show the human race the nature of their degeneration if he were so wise or capable? How can God be good when the world which he built is one built on blood. Everywhere I look, violence rules. The fish do eat each other, wolves prey upon sheep, bears steal the labor of the bees. Blood covers blood covers blood. Is he the god of the fish, or of the sheep, or of the bees? Or are they but flesh made to serve, to be spent by the strong? If so, then he is the god of the strong, of the young, his kingdom built by suffering. Perhaps he gives us dominion over all living flesh for our souls, which were bestowed upon us, and for this reason we have the right to the murder and rapine of life. But if our souls transfer to us such privilege, then they are tyranny. Wise monk, you know well the history of your own, and have learned what stories mine do tell. You have seen a stalking darkness which formed itself for lust of that which it could not claim. Tell me now that the story of many is not one of hatred and blood, theft and humiliation. For what is the sword but for slaying, the spear for piercing boars and women, the axe for felling old wood trees and proud men? The world we are made to live in is one of violence, which begins before birth and ends in tearing a life from all it has ever known. You know this. This is the nature of the world to which you were born. This is the world which God with all his might chose to create. Look at all the pain found in all of it, and tell me how God can be good. Living in such a world where all that is good is made to die, to pass beyond the reach of mortal fingers into the jealous keeping of God. Yet as a soul living in this battlefield, I am meant to hold hope that the war for my very next breath is commanded by a captain who holds it dear. He does not, the proof of which lies beneath this fresh grass. How could I have faith in him when I have seen the war before my eyes? The slaughter is sickening. The scythe swings low over the world in a wave akin to dawn and dusk. I am told to have faith in the reaping, faith in him as my judge. But how could I trust myself to his judgment when I have seen how he rules and commands the war? Those who profess love sally forth against those to whom love is foreign, and the followers of truth are torn apart as their commander gazes on. The power he holds is unassailable, but wasted for the lives which could be made the better, and leads so poorly that I could not surrender myself to it and trust blindly. No, good monk, it is not proper to have faith in such a power. Acknowledge it, for it does exist, but do not place your hope in a power which contains all goodness, but does not share it. Yes, he keeps for himself all the goodness, locked away beyond the walls of this world, given only to those who pass his judgment unscathed. That is the power which hung the stars, brought the sun to burning, formed the earth from errant rock, made the moon of pale stone. Yet we are left here in the pit where blood runs free, where the race of man starves, where rain brings life and death, health and disease. The word of God is love, but he does not love us, or else pain would not be so harsh. If this is a test, then what reason have we given him to test us, we who come into this world mewling? And why test us with the death of those we love? Surely they should not suffer that our souls remain pure. That is beyond cruelty. Love is the reason for all creation, the feeling which brought God to begin his works. Love gave him the power to see it complete. But look about us and tell me if you see love. When Daona's ships break the horizon, their axes fall upon the Eolish. In bondage and to humiliation are taken women and children. Where is the love which caused all things? Why does he not break their ships or rust their blades, that harm should not come to those he professes to love? In him is all power, yet it is not used. Were a king of any land to hoard his might in the same manner as God, watching his people suffer when he holds their salvation, there would be no worse tyrant in all the earth than he. Well justified would his subjects be to overthrow him. He is either all-loving but powerless, or unloving and all-powerful. For if he was all-loving and all-powerful, would we live in such an age? No, God looks down upon us unfeeling. For if the love with which he forged the earth were still in his heart, then no man would know suffering, and I would not be beside the grave of my husband. A poor king is he. Behind her, tall and proud, loomed the dark shadow of her great mother, Witch, and though she spoke not, the shadow of her presence fell upon Ilulean as she wept and raged. Ilulean continued. He himself professes it. No other reason is there for him to descend to creation. When he walked among mortal man, taught, wept, and died, was this for our benefit, truly? No, for when he saw what man had become and would become as every day brought him further from the purity of creation, he wept for himself, that the vision which guided him to the forging of all things was more perfect than anything which he had the power to make. And seeing creation wallow in degeneracy, he hated his failure. He made himself flesh from self-pity, for shame that he had so failed, coming from on high to live and suffer and die in the same manner which man suffered and died, hoping that it would show us the truth of his works, but knowing, as he is cursed to know, that it was all in vain. Think, good monk, do men hold true the truth? Do they offer themselves freely and without violence to those that would destroy them? They do not. Do men offer what they have when the needy present themselves, when men ask of them, as God has commanded of us? They do not. And when asked for a thing, it becomes far more precious to them, refusing to be parted from it. Do men place their faith as the highest altar with which to worship the God as he has taught? Or have they been enraptured by even the smallest rituals and daily observations? They do not, as he asks. All over the earth they worship by ritual, building great churches that they might not see the sky set above them. His teaching has failed, as he must have known it would, and man is left in a falling world, doomed to die and be judged by laws he cannot live by. The gates of heaven are shut to mortal men, the love within withheld. It matters not what labors he endeavored in life. Let him be a telach, let him be a shepherd, let him be a just warrior, let him be a smith, let him be a good and pious monk. The kingdom of heaven is closed to him, for he was made in a failing world. Breathing its air condemns him. In this hour, as I speak to you, my beloved is facing judgment. The sentence will bring him no peace. Sulfur and fire his fate. He was a warrior, and fought only to preserve what good remained among his people. For this he is doomed by the laws of God. We shall not be reunited in the place which remembers love. So tell me, good monk Gregory, why should I stand and face this new day? Why should I hope to be reunited with those I love? Why should I have faith in God when he has surrendered his creation to decay, when he refuses to gaze upon it? We are abandoned by a Creator who could not understand our meanness. All the good which will ever grace the earth has passed over it and returned to heaven, Dirt, blood, and rot are all that remain of creation. Why should I place faith in this life? It is but emptiness. All rage and anger in her had turned to wearied exhaustion when she finished, her last words falling out of her as a sigh. She looked to her Baith great mother, but still upset by broken oaths, she turned and looked over the sea to where the fire of dawn burned in the waters, and watched as the weak sun climbed into heaven, and turned from it. She looked at last to Gregory, only she could not hold his gaze long, for shame of loosing her anger upon him. Only the tomb of Ethelwald was free from her wrath. It held only sadness. As she fixed her gaze upon the grass that there swayed, the monk Gregory spoke to her, his voice low and calm, and he answered, "You are in pain, Ilulean, a pain which will not stop hurting you, not for many long years. And though that pain will grow dull, it shall last you the rest of your life. I know this, because I have lost my family twice, the second time last night. I cannot tell you with certainty that you will survive these days unscarred or free of pain. I cannot tell you with certainty that your beloved is now in safety, for I have not stood where he now stands. Yet I have faith in our ends. You may weep, for such feelings are natural in times such as these. It is right to ask questions, more so when their answers are not known to man. You do doubt after pain has visited you, and I must confess that I have doubts also. Last night I lost my family again, first being exiled for my questioning, and now to the strange darkness which walked this land. For many reasons they were sent here, but they were all of them good and kindly men. They did not deserve to die to that whirling terror, yet it is what came to them nonetheless. Yet I do not give myself to despair, for I shall have all I seek when I walk through the vale. I will weep, but I shall not let these feelings overwhelm me. Twice your family has been taken from you, just as it has me. You are not alone in your feeling. In the long years since your father died, and you were hidden away in the lands beneath the mounds, many Aeolish felt the pains you feel now. What would you have them do, they who cannot leave the isle? The strange Baith will not take them, nor can they hide elsewhere. You rule over them by right. Can you not live the way they do? The pain shall not last forever. There are things beyond the skill and knowledge of man, I think. And, I think, of Baith. Death is one of these. Pain is not. If you walk these lands, from the wild mountains of Ailmeloch into the lands of the Drocht Ballon, you will not find a single Aeolish who does not know pain. Go to them, speak with them, and they will comfort you. Grief festers with emptiness. Do not run from it, but face it as you faced that darkness. I will stay at your side until you have defeated this also, but if you will not have me, then travel this island and spend your time with the people you rule. Ilulean, last night an evil which long harmed the isle committed its last acts before being destroyed. You broke his power. Victory in war has always been costly, and we are to be grateful that its evil is ended. Do not let your properly placed grief come to rule over you. Ilulean's rage subsided at his words. No longer did she feel it boiling, but grief remained. The world seemed oppressive to her, and she longed to be hidden from it. She shrank as her wrath died, and her pain was all that remained. In a low voice she spoke. Go, good monk Gregory. I permitted pain to blind me to that which pulled me back to the lands of my love. Lonely though I now feel, for while high Telach of Eland I am forgotten by my people, the memory of a memory of peace, I will strive to spur them to stand as they should, and I grant the right for the word of the good God to be taught, your teachings given pride of place above all others. Go, Gregory, be good to the Eolish, a simple people, but remember always to serve and never rule. That role is given to me alone. Yet I will not watch you do this, for I shall return to where I was raised, down where my last remaining kin do dwell, to live as they do live. Long shall it be before I return to my husband's home, for it is horrible now to me, who fled this place when I was but a girl. In returning I found further pain. Foolish does it seem to me now. This world is a weariness, and I long to leave it. I will go and languish no longer. There are things long since started that need ending. Goodbye, good monk Gregory. I shall look after you as you walk through my lands. The Baith witch, who had long stood still as Ilulean and Gregory spoke, moved quickly to the door set in Ethelwald's mound and opened it as only the Baith can. A darkness poured from it. Cold wind swirled over the grass, though the sun was young and strong. The Baith stood still as a rooted mountain and raised an arm towards Ilulean, calling her down beneath the ground, to that cold land where the sun does not shine. Ilulean delayed in following after, looking her last on the land of her father, her husband, her people. Gregory protested. Ilulean Finnewen, do not go beneath the mounds. Do not follow her into that darkness. I know not what will happen to you when you go, or what spell the Baith will weave on you. You possess already more power than any man has ever held before. You need not fall further into their world. Know now and always that you are loved. Those who have died, those who yet live, those who are yet to come, and in their number there are those who loved you, love you, and will love you. Yet stay or leave, I shall not forget you, nor cease to pray for you. And when the twilight hour comes, I will look for you. The world is not all evil, and running from pain does not make it lighter. Remain, suffer, and live. Do not go into the darkness and forget. Ilulean watched him, her eyes endless seas of loss, and she answered him. It is too much in this day, and I will take whatever relief I can. The sight of the sun is too burdensome, the water filled with pain. There is a chance now for me to rest beyond the din of this world. The dangers of the other world I understand better, but those of this island have harmed me deeply. No joy do I find in your teachings, no love in your love. Perhaps it is there for others, but not for me. I hope there to find respite, though, as you have said, I do not think it will heal my pains. In the lands of the Baith there is much pain, but there is little grief. I will watch over the land in which I was born, which I now rule, as I have sworn to do, but I cannot stand in it for a moment longer. She turned and went to Ethelwald's mound, and taking one last look of her world, she met the good monk's eyes and smiled sadly. A lonesome breath of wind touched her, and the golden light of the sun on her shoulders seemed to hold her tightly. But then she bowed her head and went into the mound, the stone door slamming shut after her. The good monk Gregory fell to his knees and wept, remaining there until long after the sun had left her high place. What brought him from his weeping was the sound of voices far below, singing a slow song. Gregory roused himself and went to the cliff face. In the waters below, a small boat battled the waves, its occupants wearied by their long struggle. They noticed Gregory standing upon the cliffs and hailed him, asking who he was, and Gregory answered that he was the last of the good monks of Scarmeline. To this they gave a great shout, and told them they were warriors come to search of Ethelwald, to give him aid in his battles, but they feared that he had perished. Gregory told them he knew the fate of Ethelwald and mourned it. Shirday and Ilulean desired to know it, but could not scale the cliffs of Crenboch Dudail, and were made to sail down the coast to gentler lands before walking back to Gregory, reaching him as the sun set. Shirday stood at their head and asked, "Tell us, wise man from beyond the sea, what became of the warrior Ethelwald, and what caused the villainous tree, which we can see from Ilulean, to sprout over Scarmeline in one night?" Gregory led them beside Ethelwald's howe, the humble grave of a warrior so mighty, and there he told the tale of his final battle, of Ilulean Finnewan, of the end delivered to the feral hunter. So awed were they that their arms were laid beside the tomb, tribute for the fallen warrior. The night they spent there beneath the moon, listening as Gregory told the tale in full, as he had heard it told the night before. Thus did Shirday learn of the power which the ring of Dame Thardwine promised to its wearer, but also of the 3 curses placed upon it and her fate. She did not tell of this to her companions for fear, but she did tell Gregory of their time upon Scarmeline, and of the curses they placed on Fellerin Coldara. When dawn came once more to find Gregory at Crenboch Dudail, all tales had ended, and Shirday and Ilulean prepared to journey to their people. So well did they admire the lonely priest that they offered him a bed among their people, food and clothing, permitting him to walk among the wee Agla and teach the word of the good God, an offer Gregory did not refuse. This party returned to the wee Agla, bringing to that troubled Tella peace for many years. End Book 11. End Volume 1. The Ring of Dame Thardwine was written and performed by Michael Frutig. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting the project on Patreon. Supporters get text files of each chapter, as well as access to Q&A posts, other writing projects, such as flash fiction and chapters of other works. Go to patreon.com/michaelfrutig for more. patreon.com/MICHAELFRUTIG. Thank you.